Okay, today we're looking at section 6.6. Begins on page 368. Stem and leaf plots and mean, median, and mode or measures of central tendency. And that's what our two goals are: to make a stem and leaf plot, to put that in order, and then find the three measures of central tendency. First thing you have is a definition of a stem and leaf plot. Typically, when you see a stem and leaf plot, it'll have the tens and the ones place as its stem and its leaves. That's typically. So if you do not have a key that goes along with it, you have to assume that it says tens and ones. So if you see a stem and leaf plot that doesn't have anything on top, and all you see is 1, 2, 3, like this, uh, 1, 3, 6, 2, and 4, you have to assume without being having a key that that means the number 11. This means 23 and 26, and this means 32 and 34. However, if you add a key to it and you say that the stem, like a key would show 1, 1 equals 1.1, then that means this turns into the ones place and this will turn into the tenths place, which is like the example you'll see in just a couple of minutes. You have to have a key that shows that, otherwise you have to assume it's tens and ones. Measure of central tendency. This is a very easy concept to understand for most people. Measure of central tendency. All that goes on here, this is your most important word of it: typical. What is typical? Because there's three measures of central tendency. There's the mean, the median, and the mode, and we'll look at those individually in a second. But what is typical? If you if somebody asks you, what do you typically score in algebra class? What do you make on your tests? Well, let's look and see. If you, let's say these are your scores: 74, 74, 73, and then 99. If you add those four numbers up and then you divide by 4, because that's how we're going to find average, and you divide by 4, you're going to get the number 80. Do you typically score 80 on a test? No, that's not a good measure of central tendency because of this, what's called an outlier. That number, an outlier, means it is exceptionally high or low. Um, Likewise, if you typically do better on tests, let's say you make 91, 93, 92, and then you bomb a test and make a 60. If you divide that by 4, you're going to get 84. Do you typically score in the mid 80s? No, you typically score in the low 90s. So notice that is not a good typical measurement. It is a measure of central tendency, though, to find the average, which most people do, and most of y'all do because that's how you calculate your grades. But that wouldn't be a good measure of central tendency. The median or the mode would be better in that case, and we'll look at those in a minute. But typical, if somebody asks you what is a measure of central tendency, what do you typically come up with when you're looking at numbers? What is typical? The mean is the average. The mean, this is how I always explain this: the mean means average. The mean means the average. Add all the numbers up and divide by however many you add up. So if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3, you're going to divide, since there's three numbers, you're going to divide, that's 1, 2, 3 numbers, you divide by 3. So 6 divided by 3, your mean would be 2, or your average would be 2. The median is the middle number. Where I'm from, we have this thing called a neutral ground. And most people are unfamiliar with that term out of where I'm from. Actually, let me pause this for a second. But the neutral ground just is a Mardi Gras term. Median is what most people typically call the thing that is in between two streets. It's the median because it's in the middle. Most people don't have a problem with knowing that the median is in the middle. Anytime you see median, that means middle. Where people make mistakes with this is it has to be in order when they're written in order. So if you had numbers like 1, 2, 4, 3, 6, 7, just to throw it off a little bit. Your median number, if you looked for the number that was in the middle, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. It'd be the number that was in between the two middle numbers. So actually, let's take that 7 off. We used to throw it off real quick. If you pick the number in the middle the way they are right here, 4 would be the middle number. But that's not the median because the numbers are not in order. You'd have to reorder them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and then pick the number in the middle, and that would be your median. Likewise, if you had something that looked like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you were picking the number in the middle, now you don't have an odd amount. You got an even number. There's 4 of them. You have to pick the number that is in between the two middle numbers. So you pick the number right between 2 and 3. If you have to add those up and get 5 and then divide by 2, then do that. Or you can just say 2.5 is right between 2 and 3. So 2.5 would be your median in that case. But the fact that they're in order is the key to this. Median is the middle when they are in order. Mode is a 4-letter word, and so is most. Mode and most. 1, 2, 3, 4. Think of that, and you won't mess those up. Mode is the one that shows up the most, not the one who has the highest value. So if you have 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, the mode is not 4 because it's the most value. That would not be considered the mode. The mode is the one that shows up the most. 2 shows up more than once. It's the only one that shows up more than once. If you had, for example, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, what would your mode be in this case? Your mode, well, you have 2 1s, you have 2 2s, and you have 2 3s. There's no number that shows up more than the rest. They all show up the same amount in this case. So this would be considered no mode. It's the one that shows up the most. Neither one of those show up the most. Now, if you had, for example, 1 1, 2 2, 3, now your mode, you have 2 of them that show up more than the rest. Your mode would be 1 and 2. You would have 2 modes in that case. Again, going back through the 3 of them real quick. Mean means the average. Add them up, divide by however many you got. Median is the one that's in the middle, but they have to be in order. That's key. In order. In the middle, in order is fine for a definition for that one. And then mode's the one that shows up the most. Or the most if you need to write often to go with it. The most often, not the highest value. Here's example number 1, making a stem and leaf plot. Says figure skaters technical marks, and they give you a bunch of values. Make a stem and leaf plot to display the data. Use the digits in the ones place for the stems, and this is kind of just a little bit of a definition problem right here. For the stems, and the digits in the tenths place for the leaves, and then the key at the bottom shows you how to interpret the digits. Here you go for your unordered stem and leaf plot. This is just going straight down the numbers. If when you go through the numbers, go ahead and scratch them out where you don't repeat them. That's a trick to this. 4.0, here's 4 right here. 0.0 just means you add 0 right there. Next one's 5.5. That's this one. 5.8, 4.3, 3.9. That'd be this one. 0.0, 5.0, 4.1. 3.5, and then the last 4.1. To where you don't make a mistake, you can cross them out as you go. Then when you order them, leave it looking just like it is, except take each of these rows and reorder them. So take 9 and 5, they're not in the right order. They're not ascending. You got to put 5 and then 9. So that's what you do there. Then take 0, 3, 1, 1, not in ascending order. Just reorder them. Make it say 0, 1, 1, 3. And then the last one, 5, 8, 0, make it say 0, 5, 8. Your key at the bottom says 4, 3 on each side of the stem and the leaf represents 4.3. Okay, and here's your ordered stem and leaf plot right here to reference. Says find the mean, median, and mode of the figure skater. So to find the mean, add up the 10 marks. So add them up just like this. 0.0, that's this one. 3.5 is this one. 3.9, 4.0. Make sure you carry in over the stem as well as the leaf. 4.1, 4.1, 4.3, 5.0, 5.8, and 5.5, and then 5.8. Where people make mistakes with this is they forget, or they either use one twice or they forget one out of it. So make those little marks where you don't make a mistake. There are 10 scores, and that's why you divide by 10 right here. And when you divide by 10, you get 40.2 divided by 10 is approximately, notice the little wavy equal signs means approximately 4.0. It would be 4.02 if you did it exactly, but approximately a 4.0 score. Again, mean means the average, add them all up, and divide by 10 in this case since there are 10 numbers. The next one is finding the median. Median means middle, but they have to be in order. Your turn, we made a stem and leaf plot that is in order. There are 10 numbers. The easiest way to do this is to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then count the other ones from the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the number right in between 4.1 and 4.1. Let's look at that. You have to find the average of the two middle numbers. Your two middle numbers in this case are both 4.1. There is no number that falls in the middle of those since it's the same number. But if you did add both of them up, you'd get 8.2. And when you divide it by 2 to find the average, like we just did a second ago, you'd come back to 4.1. And then number 3 is the one that shows up when you see mode, the one that shows up the most. It's not 0.0, 3.5. Just look for the one that has two numbers or more numbers than the rest. This is the only one that shows up more than the rest, 4.1. So 4.1 is the mode. That's usually the easiest one for people to find, especially if your numbers are in order already for you, 4.1. Okay, if you see a bell-shaped distribution, says they're given a score from 0 to 10. Find the mean, median, and mode, or find the median and the mode of the data. In order to find the median, it's the number that's in the middle. As you look at these numbers right here, where it scores 5, there are 7 of those. If you count up how many scores you have on the left of it, this is 5 scores plus 3 scores plus 1 score. That's 9. You add up the other one, you got 5 scores plus 3 scores plus 1. There's 9 scores on each side of the ones of the 7 that are in the middle that have the score 5. So your median score would be 5. Also, finding the mode is the one finding the most, the one that shows up the most. The highest bar in this case says that there are 7 scores of 5, so 5 would be the most as well. So you can quickly find, if your bars are balanced like this, you can quickly find the median as well as the mode. Both of those are 5. Here's your first checkpoint. Make a stem and leaf plot of the data, then find the mean, median, and mode. Making your stem and leaf plot will look like this. You need to go from 1 through 4 because 4 is your highest tens value. Notice your key says 1 slash 0 means 10. So you have a lot of 10 values, 10, then 12, 13, 15, 15, 15, 16, 17, 17, 19. That's in order. Notice it says to make it in order. 20, 22, 23, there are no 30s, but notice 30s represented, it just doesn't have any values attached to it. And then 45. The easiest one for you to pick out is the mode. 15 shows up 3 times. That's why it's your mode. Your mean means your average. That means to add them all up. Add them all up and divide by however many numbers you have. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. When you add all of those numbers up, you want to divide by 14. And you'll get the number 18.5. And the median, when they're all in order, just count to 7 since there's 14 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's 7 the other way. So your median is the number between 6 and 7. If you need to write them out, find a number between, 16 and 17 is what I meant. Between 16 and 17. 16.5 is directly between 16 and 17. And then making another stem and leaf plot in order will look like this. Mean means to add them all up and divide by however many they have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You divide by 15 once you add them all up, and you get the number 67 for your mean. Median, when they're all in order, count to 8 because there are 15 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That number there, 60, is your median because there's 7 numbers on the left side of it, then your median, and then there's 7 numbers on the right side of it. 60 is the middle number when they're in order. And the one that shows up the most, there are 3 zeros next to the 6 in your stem and leaf plot. There are 3 of them. So 60 is your mode. So notice your mode and your median are both 60, and your mean is 67.